Yo, what's going on, y'all? This is Andy Mack, and I'm back with another video. And today I have the pleasure of giving you guys my honest opinion on Denon DJ's new flagship setup. The Denon DJ X1800 mixer and the Denon DJ SC5000 media players. First off, I gotta give a huge shout out to my homeboy, Yo Isaac, for being the baller and the shot caller that he is, for being able to, get this set up. And for, hitting me up to, test it out for a little while and give my honest opinion for you guys. So, man, making a video, I feel a little bit rusty. I'm kind of stumbling over my words and all. So bear with me. But honestly, I didn't know what to think when it came to this setup in general. When I seen that these players were first announced, I was, all right, the market is fairly dominated by one certain brand, that brand being Pioneer, especially when it comes to, media players. It's been the standard for a long time now, and it's kind of it's nice seeing a company really challenge, that really challenge to become the new standard. Now, Denon DJ has been around for a super long time, and they've always made very quality units. I always felt like Denon was kind of slept on in a sense, because they're kind of over here doing their own thing, putting out quality mixers, quality CD players, quality controllers. And what I like about Denon is the feel. I mean, everything is very robust. Everything feels like it's built to last. So all that being said, this is a professional setup, but it definitely comes at a professional price. Now, who's going to be purchasing this setup? Honestly, I really feel like it's going to be those guys that are already on another CDJ setup, already have it set up. I feel like the people who are really going to be purchasing this are people looking to move up into a higher quality equipment for the first time, and those who already have a CDJ setup and have probably tested these out and just probably fell in love with them from all the versatility that they have, and are going to go ahead and get this as their home system. I'm not sure if this is going to be hitting festivals a lot. As of right now, I know there are some top name DJs already using this setup in top level festivals. Let's go ahead and get into what I think of the players and the mixer. This is going to be a quick overview, a quick review of how how I like them so far. I've had them for about a week or so. I've been playing on them a couple of hours, 2 to 3 hours every day, trying to go through all the features and really trying to get a feel for who these players are aimed for, and would I personally purchase them, and would I personally purchase this mixer. Now, I feel like on this whole setup right here, one thing that might be lacking just slightly is a mixer. I mean, it's a solid mixer. It has a lot of features. I just feel like with everything that you jam-packed into the players, it would have been nice to possibly see. Honestly, man, they should have just made the mixer a little bit more vibrant as far as the color. All black and gray is cool and all. It's very stealthy. But when you have as many colors as you do on each player, a mixer like this is going to be really hard to see in a nightclub. It's just what it is. I mean, if they would have been able to put some, LED rings around the filters and everything like that to really distance itself from the rest of the knobs and from the rest of the sweep effects knobs, I mean, it would have been nice if more things would have lit up. It might have looked gimmicky. I can understand that. And it might have cost more. Yeah, I can understand that as well. But I think it would have matched the setup a lot better. Now, when it comes to these players, first off, when I first picked one up, it was extremely light. I was super surprised at how light it was. When you see how big these players are, I assume that they were going to be very heavy. Yeah, there's no CD slot. Okay. And that's a big factor of why they're so light. But nevertheless, I still expect them to be heavier than what they were. Now, for mobile DJs, if you're using 2 players and a mixer, or if you're going to buy this whole setup but you want separate cases, that's just the way you like to have things. You don't like coffins for whatever reason, because you're not trying to die anytime soon. Just kidding. These are really light. I'll give you that. One thing, though, is they do look really big, and I'm not sure if they're going to fit in your average large format CD player case. You would probably have to double check and kind of reference off other people's trials and errors with cases. I know for a fact these didn't fit in my buddy's cases. They just, and he has regular road ready, large format CD player cases. So for whatever reason they didn't fit. I'm not sure if it was because of cushioning or what. I wasn't there to see. But the media players themselves, man, honestly, I didn't really do a whole bunch of research on these bad boys. When they first came out, I was like, that's cool. I don't think I'd probably purchase them though, because I just don't see myself purchasing a media player like that. And not only that, I half own, a pair of XDJs. So as far as media players, I'm set. I don't use them a whole bunch. Nevertheless, they're nice when I have them in the studio. But when I don't, it's no big deal. It's not like I'm super missing them all the time. But I thought these were going to be super confusing, or there was going to be a good amount of, understanding that I had to learn in order to set these up and get these things going. And when I tell you that these bad boys are like two separate computers that are just plug and play, that's what they are. I literally had everything set up and running, in Serato. The whole system was running everything, running these bad boys as controllers, like in less than a minute. Like as soon as I plugged it in, it was like, boom, like, okay, what controller do you want this one as? What deck do you want this one as? And it was it. Like, that was set. Like, I could load everything. My library is set up. I can scroll through all my crates. Everything was there. This was touchscreen. I was like, what? The only thing that I had a little trouble at first is because I wasn't really paying too much attention, though, is the loop feature goes down here. If you hit loop, I just assumed this was auto loop. This is kind of like its own little splicer loop in a sense, and your auto loop is actually right here on this knob. So that was the only thing, but that's because it was literally my first time. Like I said, when I first see them launch, I thought they were cool, but I wasn't like, oh man, I need to get me a pair of those. But now having them in the studio, wow, like these are loads of fun. Let's talk about the construction, as I don't expect anything less from Denon to have nice metal construction. That's just what it is. That's what Denon's always been, in my opinion. All their mixers, if you ever pick up one of their older mixers, they're just solid construction. These bad boys are jog wheels. They feel nice, but one thing I am not a huge fan of is I feel like the wheel adjustment is just a little too sensitive. If you put it to one notch to light, it's a lot lighter. If you put it one notch more towards heavy, it's a lot heavier. It took me probably the longest to get used to the platters, and for whatever reason I felt like they were slightly more accurate when I was just running these strictly off of USB and not with Serato. With Serato they worked fine, but for whatever reason I just felt like they're tiny bit more tight, and you guys like them tight. But I felt like they're, a little bit more, not accurate. They weren't more accurate. I just felt like they were tighter with just strictly USB. So I'm not sure if it was maybe a latency issue or whatever. But for whatever reason, just that's how I felt when I first started playing them with USB. I was like, man, these feel tighter. I'm going to go out on the limb and say these are the most, yeah, man. These are like the most versatile media players out there. Like, this is, if you're coming from Serato and you're not, a huge fan of playing off of sticks or USB drives, this is like having Serato in each deck, honestly. Like with all the features that you have, all the hotkeys that you could do, the loops, the rolls, the slicers, the auto loops from right here. With everything built into this, like I said, these are like two mini computers, and the way the touchscreen works and the way the screen is laid out, it's basically like a kind of a Serato-ish screen. It's very easy to understand once you take a couple of minutes to kind of sort through what each button does, and you're like, okay, that's it. Wow, I could prepare a list right here. Just the features are endless. Like I said, these are like two computers, and these are like it's like having two laptops on you. It's just all plug and play, and I was really surprised at how plug and play it was. I thought there was going to be a long learning curve. I thought there was going to be a good amount of time to set up and figure out, because these have multiple outputs on the back, and you can run things so many different ways. You have layer features. You can play two decks off of one deck and all this and this and that. But honestly, it's just laid out in a way to where it works seamlessly and it's easy to understand. I'm not sure if it was easy for me to understand because I've been around gear for so long and so many different types of gear, but I could really see, you know, maybe a newbie, a young intermediate, really grasping towards these and getting the hang of these fairly quickly. So that's what I was really surprised about. It's one thing to make a, you know, a piece of kit that's extremely intuitive, extremely well versed, jam packed full of features, but it's another thing to be able to include all those things and like make them easy to use, like that, you know. Like I was surprised at that. As soon as I set everything up, like it like it pops up on the screen like if you're plugging something into your computer, you know, like that's what it was. Now a lot of that has to do with the, you know, the chip that's in here, the multi-core system that they have in this bad boy. So these are very revolutionary in that sense. Let's get into some of my gripes about the players. I wasn't a huge fan of the jog wheels. They took a little longer for me to get used to, and I will definitely tell you this, that they feel different from any other type of media player out there as far as their jog wheels, media player or CDJs. I think it took me longer to get used to the jog wheels because I was so used to using other CDJs jog wheels for so long. The wheel adjustment, for whatever reason, I just couldn't really find a good sweet spot where it was super money. Maybe I needed a little bit more time with the units in order for me to really find that sweet spot, part and dial it in. The SD and USB in the front, I mean, it's cool and all. And I could see like, yeah, like I know with other media players out on the market, when the USB is on top, I have definitely hit my hand on the USB a few times, you know, just because it's kind of in the way. One thing I mean, yes, this is out of the way, but one thing I kind of didn't like was that it's really hidden. I mean, maybe I'm just being extremely picky, but if I was to plug in, coming in off of another DJ, I feel like I would have to, you know, like, all right, my turn. You know, especially in a dark nightclub, I can see how that might be a pain. But then again, where else would you put it? If you put it on the top, you're going to look like every other media player or CDJ out there. And if you put it in the back, it's not any better. So, I mean, I guess in the front, it's cool, you know. It definitely took me some time to get used to. Quick little side note. A couple things I didn't mention, what I didn't like about the mixer and the CD players, and what I did like. A couple things I forgot to mention that I feel are worthy of putting the video to mention. I don't like the power button on the media players. I feel like they're very flimsy. Yeah, they're nice and professional, and they have like this little plastic housing, so you don't accidentally bump them, but I still feel like you're able to push them in a little bit too easy. I like switches, you know, I like power switches to be a lot more robust. I feel like on my 62, it's a lot more robust, and there's like this loud clicking sound when you turn it on and off, and that's what I like. I want to be able to hear that. I feel like that's really, I don't know, it's just very robust and professional feeling. Not saying that these don't look professional or feel professional, because they do feel very nice, and they're very nice looking power buttons. I just feel like they're really easy to bump if you're moving the player, if you're trying to stick in the USB through the back, and stuff like that. One thing I forgot to mention about what I like about the mixer as well as the players is the way that they're designed. So when you have them set up next to each other, it's really easy to run cables through the front versus through the back. So if you want to have everything tucked in nice and neat, it's very easy to achieve that with this, because how they're contoured on the side, especially the mixer itself, is very contoured nicely. So if you have this and some other players or some turntables, it's going to be a lot easier to run those cables straight along the side, if you don't have everything up in a case. But if you have it set up at home and you want it nice and tidy and you don't really want to see wires all over the place, it's really easy to tuck them in with how they designed this. So kudos to Denon for that. I mean, that's the feature that not many people really think about, but it's pretty nice to have. So back to the video. Gripes about the mixer. I just feel like it's lacking in color. There should have been a tad bit more illumination as far as colors or some type of different textures, so you can really differentiate what you have on the mixer, especially in a darker nightclub setting or in a dark setting in general. One thing that I definitely think would have set this 4-channel mixer apart from other professional 4-channel mixers out there on the market is possibly a little bit more crossfader control. I know you could take off the faceplate and tighten the crossfader as far as its tension, make it a little lighter, make it a little heavier, but maybe something externally would have been like that. Nowadays, at least 2-channel mixers in this price range, offer, you know, quite a bit of crossfader control, especially the competition does. So I think one thing that would have really stood out to maybe some scratch DJs that so happen to do mobile gigs was, oh dang, it has a crazy amount of fader control. I mean, I'm not saying the crossfader is bad. The crossfader is actually very good. It's very mechanical, as you can hear. Some people might get turned off by, you know, the loud clicking noise. Me personally, I think I don't know. It's cool. I like the mechanical feel of crossfader. It feels like I'm working, and I like that feeling. I think maybe adding a little bit more to the crossfader area would have maybe enticed a broader range of DJs to this mixer. There's not many gripes. You know, there's really not. One thing I would also like to see on the players as standalone players when you have them linked together is flipping doubles. If you would have been able to do that, there was a couple times where I really wanted to mess around and juggle the same track, but there was no, you know, flipping doubles or stuff like that, so it wasn't really there. And you know, to make chases a little easier and stuff like that, I think that's one of those features that they could definitely add in a firmware update. And getting into firmware and all that, the beauty about this whole system is that it's all digital as well as a mixer, so they can add more effects. It's never ending. The upgrades to this are going to be never ending. That's what's crazy about this. Like, literally 4 firmwares from now, you can have a completely new mixer as far as its effects and other things. Like, and that's insane to think, as well as the players. And this is a never-ending platform. I mean, you can always evolve, and that's one thing when you purchase this. It's you kind of got to keep that in mind, that they're not just that's it. This is how they're going to stay. They're always going to continue to get better. Now with firmware updates and things like that, as I feel like if this certain type of market doesn't get oversaturated as far as this piece of kit, I don't really feel like you're going to be running into a whole lot of bug issues and things like that. You've seen it with other softwares and hardwares that you run into bug issues because they're trying to fix, you know, so many things. Don't mind the dog in the background. He's telling me, you go, Dad, you right. Like I said, you're going to be spending about like $6K on this altogether if you round up. Right now, I believe price point for the whole system, price from AGI Pro DJ at the time of this recording is $5,697, and that's how you're getting it out the door because they're in Oregon and Oregon has no sales tax. So quick little tip, if you guys ever shop, I've bought a few things from AGI Pro DJ. This setup actually was purchased from AGI Pro DJ, so shouts out to them for no sales tax. Now, who would I recommend buy this system? I would say the professional. Like, if you're already pretty established and you're willing to spending $6K on DJ kit is no big deal, or it's normal to you, then go ahead. I don't think I would probably recommend maybe somebody looking for their first setup to buy this. I mean, I always say that about everything. Like, don't buy the best. You know, get something that, because DJing is one of those things where you can really fall in love with it, and you might just fall in love with it for 2 months, and then you might let it go, and you're not ever gonna get what you paid for out of these when you sell them at these. If you take them out and you're, you know, making money with them, then of course you're making your money back and they pay for themselves. But I would definitely say maybe an intermediate or a professional already should definitely purchase this system. If you're a mobile DJ, I would definitely say purchase this system. If you're looking to upgrade from a controller, this is the system to go for. Only because you have all the outputs, all the inputs that you would ever need, and you have the versatility of not only running on DVS and it working seamlessly and easily, you also have the versatility of being able to do pretty much all the same things. Yeah, all the same things, just with USB or SD cards. Now, that's incredibly important for whatever reason. If your computer goes down, you have plenty of options to do all the tricks and all the loops and everything like that that you would ever want to do off your computer, and you could do it off here strictly off USB or SD. And that's just nice to have the option. Yes, there's no CD player, but nowadays in this day and age, yeah, people don't really come up to you with CDs like, hey, can you play the surprise dance song off this CD? most of the time it's already on your computer or it's already on a flash drive ready for you. So it's just one of those things. Mobile DJs, I think this would be like the mobile DJ, like probably the best setup. I feel like the best DJ setup for a mobile DJ. I just feel like it's the most versatile, like completely. It might be super overkill, but for those mobile DJs that really like to, you know, press buttons and really like to get down and really like to be creative while mixing, this is insanely good. If you're coming from turntables, this is nice because if you're coming from turntables and DVS, when you go onto CDJs, it's a different, you know, it's a different experience because you're going strictly off flash drives. I definitely feel like this is the most DVS to media player transition friendly players out there, if that makes sense. Because literally, like I said earlier, it's like having DVS and everything that you would have from your software on your computer, but in the players. And everything is very easy to read and all that. So I would definitely say if you're coming from turntables and you want to wander into the media player market, these would be good to go. Now, each player at the price at the time of this recording is about $1,900. So I mean, if you get it from somewhere that has tax and all, you're looking at $2,000 a player. That's $4,000 on the players. And if you already have your own pretty dope mixer, then you're set. And honestly, I feel like these players and any professional mixer out there would be a really adequate setup. Like, it'd be really nice. Now, I take the players away. For somebody who's just looking to upgrade the mixer, this is a solid mixer as well, man. Like, I would definitely recommend this mixer if you want something different from the norm. If you're looking for something that has possibly more options and never-ending updates, this is probably the way to go. This sounds really good. Everything feels really good. Has metal pots on all the knobs, which is really nice. It's just a really good mixer, man, at the end of the day. And you can customize everything about this mixer as far as, you know, you can customize so much about this mixer as well as the players. I mean, I changed these lights like 4 or 5 different times just because I could. And it was super easy to do. Now, are they worth the money? Would you rather, if you had to choose between 2 options, between these bad boys ranging, let's say rounded up to about $6,000 for the complete setup, or maybe like, I don't know, like a 2002 used Honda Civic on Craigslist with like 150,000 miles on it, like which one would you rather get? Honestly, I would say if you don't have a car, then it's pretty obvious. Get this setup, duh. And if you do have a car, even better, get this setup. I mean, honestly, they're just really fun to play with. And anybody who's going to purchase them, I'm pretty sure you're going to be happy with it. Are these better than all the other media players on the market? I'm not really the one to ask, honestly. And that might frustrate some people because I'm making a whole video about them that's like 15, 20 minutes long. But I'm just not the one to ask, really. Because these hold not only their own, but I feel like they're kind of in a different category. Like, that's just the way I feel about them. But I will say this. I will say that they are the most versatile media players out there. And that's saying a lot. So if you're a really versatile DJ, or you just like the options of having a lot of versatility in your players, then fork out some dough and pick these bad boys up. One thing I would like to check out from this whole Prime series is their turntables. So anybody from Denon, if you guys think I'm somewhat professional enough, go ahead and hit me up, man. Send me some tables. I love them, man. I need some new tables in the studio, so. Yeah, if you guys enjoyed this, leave a like down below. Leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think about this. Let me know how uninformative I was on giving this review. I wanted to tell you from a homeboy standpoint because I feel like all you guys and gals are my homies. So make sure to hit me up on all your favorite social media sites. I'll leave my links down below. As well as a link to AGI Pro DJ because this is where these bad boys came from. So shouts out to them for selling dope DJ gear. And I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.